The Donut Bag is brought to you by Penn Highway Marketplace, the marketplace for vintage goods, quality collectibles, and handmade crafts. It's where I get all my sports memorabilia. Go to facebook.com/Penn Highway. That's facebook.com/PENNHWY and mention I sent you. I think usually when we talk about these, we generally agree. I think we're going to have a good old-fashioned disagreement about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
We may.
I kind of liked it. I didn't hate it, but I had such ridiculously low expectations for this movie. So I didn't hate it. So it's a good thing. Pam, we'll start with you. What did you think about this?
Okay, I love this movie. I don't know where the tepid reaction is coming from. I loved it. I loved it from the very beginning to the very end. Now, granted, I will tell people that you guys saw it before I did, and I had lowered my expectations because you guys were sort of on the fence about it, but I freaking loved it from the first second to the very end of the last credit scene.
Interesting.
Loved it.
Interesting. All right, you emphasized that last credit scene. Interesting.
Andrew, what did you think of this movie?
I think I went in with similar expectations to you, Joe. I never expect anything from Ant-Man movies. Like, who is Ant-Man? Like, he's not a marquee superhero. He's not Captain America. He's not Spider-Man. He's not one of the big names. So I always go into his movies expecting kind of a low bar. And this definitely superseded that low bar. I thought they did a really great job maintaining the lighthearted comedy stuff that has been working for Ant-Man. And I'll talk about my favorite scene that happens towards the end of the movie where they call back to Civil War. But I also thought Jonathan Majors as Kang. I'm super excited that he's in this universe now, and he's an imposing character. I think he's going to be very interesting to watch.
He is, and he's everywhere. He's in the Creed movie.
I saw that. That was also one of the previews we saw.
Did you see those biceps?
The dude is ripped.
He is ready for that Creed movie. He is ready to box.
The It Man. Yeah, he's like the It Man right now.
Before we talk about the movie, let's talk about one of the trailers for the movie. This came out a while ago, and it was set to the Elton John song "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," and I've heard it described that this movie, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, of course, is a reference to the Wizard of Oz. This movie was kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You had Kang is the wizard. He builds this city in this faraway land, and he rules over the land. And then some outsider comes in, and then they're trying to get home, and then they get home.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
I thought that was interesting.
I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. Makes sense.
So the first scene is kind of what happens a long time ago, where Kang arrives in the quantum realm. Janet is there, and
Raising
she's
squid horses.
Sure, yeah, doing her quantum farming or whatever.
Yeah.
And something's about to attack Kang, and she helps him, and he's like, what is this place? And then we go to the beginning of the movie.
Just real quick before we dive into deep into the movie, do you guys know anything about Kang outside of this movie and outside of obviously
we all?
Here?
Well, okay, I was going to say,
besides
we all know
Loki,
something about him?
there's the whole one of your favorite subjects, Pam. There's the whole thing about the comics, which some of it's relevant, some of it is not relevant at all. But we know that with the one post-credit scene was a callback
super relevant.
Council of Kings, but still, yeah. So I know some of Kang, but then again, I'm not a comic book reader, but I know a little bit about.
The only thing
they make it.
Go ahead, Pam.
I was just going to say they make it so you don't have to know all that and it's still cool and it's still interesting. I think.
It works both ways. Like the post-credit scene, they have that scene with all the kings in the Coliseum. You or me, Pam, it's
That's
like,
cool.
okay, there's a bunch. Oh, that's cool. And then
Yeah.
somebody like Andrew who's like, oh, that's a callback
He's going,
to the thing.
Yeah.
That's
So we both can enjoy it. So that's cool.
The one thing I will throw in there that is not said in this movie, but is knowledge about Kang that could be kind of interesting and kind of relevant, is that he is a descendant of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, which we're getting the Fantastic Four in upcoming movies, could play in. So that is the one thing I will say.
Yes, he is a descendant of Reed Richards, and in the comics, he lived in the 31st century. In the 31st century, everything is wonderful, everything is awesome, and he was this utopia. He was bored, and he discovered the secrets of Doctor Doom's time machine and traveled to the past. He traveled to Egypt and became some pharaoh or something like that. Ramatut.
That's actually his first comic book appearance. He doesn't appear as Kang until the second appearance.
Okay, and yeah, they kind of retcon that, I believe. Every time he traveled back in time, he created a branching timeline and a variant of himself. And then, of course, we know what happened in Loki with the He Who Remains and stuff like that, which is...
He's been He Who Remains, he's been Iron Lad, he's been the Scarlet Centurion, he's been like, he's had a bunch of different names.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
And for some reason, he always has scars on his face.
Yeah.
He makes Thanos look like a baby or something like that. I mean, this is like, in theory, this is like the ultimate big bad. But
I'm pretty sure there's a comic where he goes back and like kills Thanos as a kid or something.
Probably.
But
yeah, and we got a lot to talk about how he ends up in this movie. But anyway, we cut to, so after the scene with Janet and Kang, we cut to Scott Lang, who is just living his best life. By the way, Scott Lang is in what city? San Francisco. What other Marvel character was living in San Francisco? Shang-Chi.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they know each other. Maybe they've been on the same bus together.
That is not a dot I connected, but good for you. Yeah.
Maybe Shang-Chi, went to Baskin Robbins at some point. We don't know.
Don't they end up in San Francisco in a couple of different movies?
Probably.
Actually, isn't Venom based in San Francisco?
Maybe. I don't know.
And that could be an interesting crossover.
And they're playing Welcome Back, Kotter.
That's so funny.
Pam, I know you watched Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh my god, of course I did. Oh, Mr. Kotter.
Mr. Kotter.
I know the name and I know the song. I never watched the show. That was before my time. Sorry.
Actually, there are actually parallels. Mr. Kotter was a bad student who became a teacher and was a teacher of a bunch of bad students. And I guess it's sort of kind of a parallel to Scott Lang, who's a bad,
that makes sense. Yeah.
kind of person. So maybe I don't know. Anyway, I loved Welcome Back, Kotter.
I know, I did too. I thought
Vinny Barbarino, Epstein. Yeah, I know where this is. Andrew's like doesn't know what to talk about, but anyway,
I'm loving this right now.
So I mean, now Andrew, you said you weren't a big fan of Ant-Man. Me neither. I remember when the first Ant-Man movie came out. I'm like, what the heck is? Who's this idiot? What's like an ant? If I saw an ant running around, I'm like, ding, that's your superhero. As he went from that to being one of the main fighters in Captain America Civil War, and even then he's like, hey, I'm Ant-Man, and everybody's the other Avengers are like, who are you, dude? What are you? And remember in was it Avengers Endgame or Infinity War when I think in probably in Endgame when
It had
Smart
to be an
Hulk
because he wasn't in Infinity War.
okay, Smart Hulk was taking a selfie with the kids wanted to take a picture with Hulk, and Ant-Man's like,
Yeah.
don't you want to take a picture with me too? I mean I'm Ant-Man, and they're like, no.
Who?
Yeah, who? So
know,
they
that
I
went
think
from
of that
that.
Guardians of the Galaxy like scene where he's like, I'm Star Lord, and he's like, who?
Yeah.
Like that scene lives rent free in my head every time I think of Ant-Man.
So he's gone from this like, guy that gets not very little respect to now everybody's like, I mean, there's a kid with an Ant-Man backpack that he high fives and stuff.
That is an iconic actual cover from a comic.
Oh, really?
Pay mad respect to the directors for putting that in there.
I did not know that.
Is one of
that's cool.
That is an iconic Ant-Man comic cover.
That's cool.
He goes in the donut shop or whatever, and the old guy's like, "Thank you, Spider-Man." Which, by the way,
like that's the level I expect Ant-Man to be recognized at. Is like he just gets confused with the other dude in the red suit with bug powers.
Here's a bit of a, I don't want to call it a plot hole, but why would that guy know who Spider-Man was? Remember?
Ooh,
good point. Good point.
We just
rewatched No Way Home.
All right.
Spider-Man kind of got wiped from our memories.
Well,
maybe that's why though.
Spider-Man.
Maybe that's why he's getting him confused with.
No,
it's Peter Parker.
It's Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Who's Peter Parker?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, it's everybody forgets who Peter Parker is, not who Spider-Man is.
Okay. So people know who Spider-Man was.
Dang, you almost had me there, Joe.
J. Jonah Jameson was like in this universe. J. Jonah Jameson is like, Spider-Man's he's a criminal or whatever.
He's a menace.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But Scott has a book. He has a podcast.
Yeah.
He's named Employee of the Century at Baskin Robbins, which is a callback to
that part cracked me up that they bothered to bring that actor back that played his boss.
Yeah, that's cool. But isn't this the whole point of Ant-Man though? Like this whole thing is the point. He's like, I mean, you could look at it literally, you can look at it figuratively. He's this ant and this little ant who could, and here he is in his own movie, and he really is important. And of course, Hank Pym talks about it later, and I just think it's such a great parallel to the reality of the situation, for like real reality, and within the Avengers universe, the MCU. I love it. I love that parallel. Yeah. Who cares? But we all do now. So
very cool. Yeah. And he just kept saying the same thing. He's like, he's kind of semi-retired as Ant-Man. He's like, I just want to protect my daughter. I just want to, I just want to be there for my daughter. Like, okay, well, your daughter's ended up in jail, so you're not doing a great job there, Scott.
Well, this was the thing that I was tricked by the trailers on. I thought that the whole premise of this movie was going to be Kang promises Scott that he can have the time he missed during the blip with Cassie back. That was what I thought he was going to promise her. That doesn't end up being the story, obviously. We all seen the movie. So I was a little bit tricked by the trailers. And
this is why you don't watch any of that stuff.
The trailers made it look, and then when I referenced that Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, a lot of people said, oh, that means Ant-Man is dying. And in fact, that there was that one shot of the Ant-Man helmets being, broken. It's like, oh, this is the end of Ant-Man.
They're not gonna kill off any characters until Guardians. James Gunn's gonna get the exclusive right to that, essentially.
Oh, nice. So Hope is now rebranded the company, and they're trying to help solve the post-blip housing crisis. Cassie is in jail for protesting and shrinking a cop car because this is
they were raiding a homeless encampment.
They were homeless encampment.
I mean, personally, I have some ties to that community. I do feel that one, so I'm kind of like, go Cassie. But they have pizza, and this is the best use of
Pym particles.
My God.
When you
Absolutely.
take a small pizza and turn it into a large pizzas are
Absolutely.
like they're large pizzas, by the way, like large pizza with one topping right now, you're running like $22. Good for them for saving that $10. Good for you. Good news.
All right,
Pym particles.
All right, Hank. Let's calm it down there.
I thought that was
He
funny.
saved $10 whole. My goodness.
That was awesome.
Oh
Okay.
my God. I can't believe that's the part you're just like, I resonate with this.
Hey, I was just talking about how I saved money because I got a Penguins hat that was on sale, and I was so excited about that.
True.
I'm a cheapo. So that's what I would do if I had Pym particles. I would make small pizzas into large pizzas, or I would turn oh my God, I would turn small pizzas into gigantic pizzas, and then I would have pizza all the time. Oh my God.
There you go. Do it. Let's find us some Pym particles right now. Right now.
So
And this is where Joe found the motivation to invent Pym particles.
That's right. That's right.
Historically.
Exactly.
I would call them Joe particles.
There you go.
Pittsburgh particles.
Pittsburgh particles, yeah. So Cassie says, "Hey, I've been working on this thing as a beacon to the quantum realm," and Janet's like, "You did what?"
Yeah.
I'm
She's
good.
Go ahead, Pam.
No, I'm going to be the dissenter with everybody who actually liked this movie. I think Janet got on my last nerve. She
Oh, really?
rocks it and she looks great. But seriously, Janet, like, you're going to tell your pseudo granddaughter not to mess with this, but you never gave anyone a reason why.
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. Now, the reason I heard was, well, PTSD. She had a bad experience there.
I mean, she was
didn't want to
trapped
talk
there
about
for
it.
30 years.
But
So,
still, like, you maybe explain to someone. All she said was, "Hey, don't do it. Don't do it."
Yeah.
You know what? I tell my kid not to do stuff all the time, and she does that. Maybe if you explain the gravity of the situation, like, oh, by the way, all of the universe might be destroyed.
Yeah.
Maybe then she would listen.
hand raised for a second. Two things. One, PTSD is like I'm not delegitimizing her thing.
Oh,
she was also blipped.
No one is.
So she was gone for those 5 years. Cassie was there aging and found their research and studied it on her own, and then they came back. So we don't know how long after Tony Stark's snap brought everybody back this is.
Okay.
So
and in her defense, Cassie turns the thing on, and Janet's like, "Stop it!" And they're like, "Okay, fine, we'll turn it off. We'll listen." You know, and unfortunately, it was too late because then they found the signal.
MODOK already found it.
By the way, yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer looked great. You know who she's the same age as? Madonna. And
Madonna looks frightening.
Madonna looks frightening, and yeah,
I haven't seen a recent picture of Madonna.
She looks like oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's just really bad plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
Michelle Pfeiffer looks amazing
in this.
Wait, Michael Douglas, I thought he looked great. Isn't he like almost 80?
Oh yeah,
he's
very
bouncing
old.
back from cancer, and if you notice, they don't have him move a lot.
Oh,
but he
only walks in like 2 scenes.
Okay, so they all get sucked into the quantum realm, and
well, I did like the point that a bunch of people jump after Cassie. Like, Scott literally lets go and dives after Cassie. So right. I did appreciate that it wasn't just everybody got sucked in and they were all scattered. It was like there's a reason they're all like kind of segmented the way they are. So
yeah.
And the one question is, Scott in one of the movies went in there and was gone for 5 years or something like that. It's because there's different parts of the quantum realm or whatever. There's different parts of the quantum realm. Maybe that's why there's something about a time vortex or something like that. I don't know.
Janet drops a line about you could never get past Subatomia or something like that.
Right.
Which is like there's levels to it. So they got, when they jumped in because of this beacon, they got past that, and that's where she was trapped. But like Subatomia was where Scott was, and like I don't know that.
I mean, he was just
Comic book
accidentally
lore
trapped
that
there
well,
because of the
so.
blip. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the comics it was called the Microverse. And it is a secret universe beneath ours, and I heard possibly it's a gateway to the multiverse.
You want to know the
thing.
funny reason I heard they called it Quantumania?
Why?
Why?
Because Ant-Man is in the name. Look at Quantum.
Yeah, they show that.
Quantumania, Ant and
Yeah.
Man are both in the name.
Interesting. Here's my question. From Loki, is the TVA in the quantum realm?
Oh my God. The ties to Loki has to be.
A lot of
right?
ties. A lot
The
of ties.
TVA
No, see,
has to be there.
And again, I will argue this. I don't necessarily think that the TV. I think that the Kang that we meet in this movie, regardless of how you feel about him, I think he was one of the ones keeping a sacred timeline like going, and now everybody's just free to like run rampant.
Okay, yeah, we will go
We'll
there.
get there.
We'll get there. So it's basically Scott and Cassie together, and then it's Hank, Janet, and Hope are the other group. Scott
and
and
Hope
Cassie
doesn't get to do anything in this movie except fire lasers.
Right. Yeah, she didn't do much. Scott and Cassie get taken in by a village of rebels, and Cassie's there first. And you know what this reminded me of a little bit? Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Yes.
This is Princess Leia and the Ewoks right there.
Yes.
Right there.
I kept saying to my husband, this is like Star Wars.
This movie had huge Star Wars vibes.
Very much
in a very
Star
cool
Wars
way.
vibes.
Yes. There's a scene at the end of the movie where Kang's like marching out his troops. That's straight out of Attack of the Clones.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
With the armies and all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're just
Totally.
waiting to hear, the Imperial March.
Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly.
So there's just all kinds of weird creatures.
The houses are creatures. I love that.
Houses are alive. Yeah.
I love that.
And then someone's like,
ships,
wait,
everything.
your
Yeah.
buildings aren't alive?
That's so
yeah,
sad.
It's so sad. They drink the ooze and they're like, drink the ooze, drink the ooze.
I love that. That was so cool.
Now, the character's name was Quaz. Is basically the black guy. It was played by
the psychic guy.
The psychic guy. Yeah, the psychic guy.
Who can read minds? Yeah.
Who can read minds? Yeah, William Jackson.
Good Place.
Thank you, Chidi from Good Place.
Chidi, yes.
Pam, have you seen Good Place?
I have not.
Highly recommend it.
My God, it's such a great show. It
is a very good show.
A reimagining of Heaven and Hell, and it's like so good. It's got Ted Dance in it.
It's really it's a really good philosophical discussion about heaven and hell and all that, and all the afterlife and stuff like that. Very cool. Very cool.
On Netflix, so
it's Chidi from The Good Place is that guy, of course.
Yes.
So now we go to Janet and Hank and Janet, and they go to a bar, and who shows up? Bill Murray.
And we get Bill Murray's obligatory scene.
Okay. Who did Bill Murray remind you of?
Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok.
A little bit I could see that. But okay, so he was like a freedom fighter, but then he gave up, and now he's an administrator of a place, kind of like Lando Calrissian and
okay.
Lord.
I get the Lando tie.
And then he betrays the good guys just like Lando.
Yeah, except he doesn't get his Lando moment of like coming around and like
coming back. Yeah,
he gets his dying moments. He gets killed. And is this where we see MODOK?
No, we don't
Not
see
yet.
MODOK until they attack the village with Scott and Cassie.
Is this where finally Janet explains what she did in the quantum realm with Kang?
Some of it. She doesn't give it all yet. Yeah.
This is where
Like,
this is where Hank learns to stick his arms in the weird tubes and like
in
fly
the
the ship.
squishy stuff.
To fly the spaceship.
That was
Yeah.
nasty.
And
That was
and
nasty.
Hope gets to go pew 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 and like shoot wrist lasers for reasons. I honestly, like, my biggest thing was, like, my biggest detriment to this movie is that Hope does not get to do enough.
Yeah,
She
didn't
just
do much.
She flies around and shoots lasers, and like it's mostly CGI. She doesn't get a lot of character development. That's like my biggest like knock on this movie. But
yeah. So basically Janet explains what happened with Kang. So he's exiled on this in this realm, and she helps him. She tries to fix the machine, and they're close to fixing the machine, but then when it's somehow psychically connected, and when she touches it, she sees who he is, and he is a destroyer and conqueror of worlds.
And my only like caveat with that, knowing like what I know about like multiple Kangs and all that stuff, is did she see exactly what he did, or did she see variants of him also doing that? So what did she necessarily see? That's why I think Kang is a more sympathetic villain in this than I think Marvel has had in a long
Interesting.
time.
We'll see how the MCU handles Kang as opposed to
that. That's what I'm interested in seeing in this movie. Like when we get to the climax, like I'm definitely rooting against him, but there are parts of what he's saying that make sense, and I'm like, maybe he's not as bad as like they've made him out to be. You know what I mean?
There's stuff in his time machine, time chair, whatever. It looked like there's a lot of circles. Circles everywhere. There was one point where Janet goes to open a door and it's all circles. It's like that can't be a coincidence. You know where we saw a whole bunch of circles also? The Eternals.
Yep.
The Shang-Chi was all those things were all circles. Also circles with Ms. Marvel and her thingy. A lot of circles.
If you notice on some of the circles, and we'll have to all go back and watch this, there are engravings on them that are very similar to the engravings that are on the 10 rings.
Yes. Yes.
Also,
Kamala
Khan has also taken over the role of Kang at one point in the comics.
That's
like an alternate version of her.
Interesting. Sure.
But
sure, why not?
I think like, all this is linked, is what I'm saying.
I think at one point I was Kang. I feel like I would have been a really good Kang.
You would have been terrible at maintaining the timeline.
Steelers would have won every Super Bowl. I'll take it as a compliment. Yeah, that's true. I would make everybody eat pierogies. That would be my universe.
I would live in that universe night and day.
Me too.
So when she sees how evil he is, she breaks the power core, or what does she do? She puts
the like giant little spinny things on it and like blows it up to a massive size.
But he becomes somewhat powerful because his suit is working now. So basically everyone in the quantum realm hates her. She basically helped this guy rise to power, and she tried to stop him, but she failed. So basically everyone hates her. She really screwed up. That's why whenever she's like anywhere in the quantum realm, she's like she got her hoodie on to like cover her face.
Yeah.
Like nobody likes her. Nobody.
Assassin's Creed style.
That's right. Yeah. That was her. It was like, oh boy. Yeah. She really screwed up. She really screwed this up. So now we're introduced to Kang, and he meets Iron Man, and it's funny.
Meets Iron Man?
I'm sorry, Ant-Man.
There you go.
Big difference.
I was gonna say Tony Stark is back, and I missed that in this movie.
He meets Ant-Man, and he says Ant-Man's like, I'm an Avenger. He's like, have I killed you? Like, that's a flex right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, are you the one with the hammer? Like, no, I know me and Thor have similar body types, but no,
Yeah,
people,
that's
we
pretty
get
funny.
confused all the
With
time.
Paul Rudd, like, whatever you want to say about this, Paul Rudd plays that character like absolutely perfect.
He's
The
perfect.
sarcastic tone he takes with every interaction is just, oh, love it.
I love Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Paul Rudd, great actor, hasn't aged in 30 years.
Oh my God.
Look
No,
at him in
he is
Clueless.
not.
Looks exactly the same.
Exactly.
Look
Better.
at dude,
He looks better.
what was that movie? He was in. Never mind.
Paul Rudd, Steeler fan. I think he's either a Steelers fan or a Chiefs fan.
I know
He's a
that
Probably
Chiefs
both.
fan. He's from
person
Kansas
that the
City.
guy that's
Yeah.
married to Sofia Vergara is a Steelers fan.
Joe
Joe.
Manton, whatever his him.
Yeah.
Him.
The
That
guy
guy.
that was supposed to be Deathstroke in the DCEU that never
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. So we see Kang, and he's talking to him, and he basically says, if you don't do what I want, let's make a deal. If you don't do, you get this thing for me, and I won't. If you don't do it, I'll kill you and make you watch it. I'll kill her and make you watch it over and over again. So basically, Scott's a good person for this because he basically has to pull off a heist.
Is
Have
it a
you guys-
heist though?
Sort of. It's a job.
A little
It's a
aside.
job.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go
Just
ahead.
a
Tim.
little aside. Have you guys seen the show Lucifer?
Yes.
No.
Love that show.
Lucifer. I love Lucifer too. It's amazing. But I will make you watch it over and over again loop kind of thing is hell. That's the description of hell in Lucifer.
Yeah. That's what he does. Is he makes them relive their worst moment
for eternity, which I thought was a cool. I mean, I've seen it before, so it was really cool.
Also, in Loki,
and there's that Loki tie.
There was that scene where what's her name was kneeing him in the balls over and over again,
and he kept going right through it, which reminds me of Lucifer. So yeah, I get that tie. Yeah.
I'm
so glad you love Lucifer. That's a great show.
I've watched it all the way through at least twice. Yeah, maybe 3 times.
He also, if you don't know, he also pops up in Legends of Tomorrow, the DC crossover.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah?
Worth watching.
Constantine comes to him and like needs a favor and stuff. It was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and at some point we see MODOK, who is his
at some point we see
somehow Palpatine has returned.
No, isn't that the bee that was chasing me?
Yeah,
Cassie. Cassie's great in this. Cassie is great.
Yeah, MODOK flies in and raids as they're raiding the rebel base.
The native people, yeah.
By the way, I did like the design of. I'm gonna call them stormtroopers because I don't have a better name for them. But I liked the design of those stormtroopers. I thought they looked pretty. Yeah, I thought they looked pretty sleek and kind of cool.
Scary.
I would buy an action figure of that if I was into buying action figures.
Yeah, that was a cool look.
That was cool.
Yeah, MODOK is mechanized. Mechanized organism designed only for killing or something like that.
It's hysterical. MODOK is hysterical.
Go
all right.
Andrew.
So, MODOK was originally mechanized organism designed only for computing with a C. And then he decided he was better than his creators and decided to change that to a K and kill them all. He was created by an organization called AIM, which is basically, think Hydra, but less religious cult and more like we're going to sell technological weapons.
They were in Iron Man 2.
What?
AIM was in Iron Man 2.
Were they?
Yeah, it's that in the comics they're a much bigger deal, but they were just a tiny little thing in Iron Man 2.
Oh, that's right. That
Interesting.
was where the Extremis came from.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, so they totally redid MODOK for the MCU. Now
yeah.
it's Scott from Ant-Man 1 who tried to kill Cassie, and Cassie references that. She's like,
No, it's
yeah,
Darren Cross.
when I was a kid, a bee tried to kill me, and so my life
That was hysterical.
is far from normal. So yeah, he got sucked into the quantum realm when he got defeated in Ant-Man
Cross
1.
did, not Scott.
Darren, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
and it's never Darren Cross in the comics. His name is like what, George Tarleton?
Yeah,
in the comics.
Yeah.
And,
so
yeah, and his powers are drastically different. Like in the comics, he can just like shoot laser beams out of his head because he has like massive psychic powers because of his like enlarged head. But like he doesn't have like the mechanical stuff.
So MODOK is telling Scott, like, okay, here's what's going to happen. It's going to be really tough. You're going to go through this. You're going to go through that. I'm guessing MODOK has tried this, tried to fix this issue and failed. So he would know what
Probably.
Scott's about to, experience. So Scott goes in and he encounters a probability storm, whatever the heck that is. Basically, it's a whole bunch of him in every single probability.
Every probability that could possibly happen. Every choice he could make is extrapolated out.
There was one where he was just a Baskin Robbins employee still.
I did enjoy that.
That was awesome. But you know what? This is so cool though, because it's the funny, cool, lighthearted Ant-Man way of saying everything Doctor Strange told you in Endgame is right. Everything that you saw at the end of Loki is right. Like, it's a lighthearted way to physically show what's going on, which I loved. I love that about it.
And he was about to get buried by all these Ant-Mans, and then basically it was either
a Game of Thrones callback. I'm telling you, it was a Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that very much was.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he was buried. Yeah.
Battle of the Bastards. It's a big
Jon Snow, right?
Right, Jon Snow's buried, and people
I haven't
pull him
watched
up.
Game of Thrones. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either, but I heard that reference.
That scene, though. Yeah.
Game of but Hope rescues him, but also they hear Cassie's voice, and one thing that all those Ant-Mans, all those Scott Langs know is we love Cassie. So it's like, okay, now we have a purpose. Let's all do this. So
let's all build a mountain and.
Yeah. So they do the thing. They get the battery. Kang gets the battery, and then he.
Well, no, you forgot the part where Hope dives in.
Right. Yeah. Hope rescued him
the day because Ant-Man gets to the top of the mountain, throws a little disc, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then Hope dives in, and they magically shoot more discs at it, and it works. That was my eye roll part. I was like, all right, whatever. And I just kind of let it roll, but that doesn't
the MacGuffin,
sense.
So they say they succeed. Kang gets the battery and then reneges on the deal. Just like,
why?
Dude, why? Yeah,
because he's a lying criminal. I mean,
thank you.
All right.
He's a bad guy.
He's an arrogant, lying jerk that has never had to honor anything. So of course he's going to be dishonorable. I understand
all of this. What is the value of keeping Cassie at this point?
Arrogance. There's no value. There's no value.
No value. That's the thing that drives me crazy about that move. If he was really like Scott, this like conquering despot, like focused on like just getting back to the regular world and taking my army and conquering and all that stuff, why keep her?
Because he's a jerk.
Arrogance, because he thought they were so insignificant. It's like, there's no way these little schmucks can defeat me. So it doesn't matter. I'm way more important than them, and it doesn't matter whether I honor their little requests.
But if there's no way and it doesn't matter, then why not just give her back?
Yeah.
Why not just eliminate that risk?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, my brain just
He wins if he
looked at
does
it and
that.
it's like, just eliminate that risk. Just give her back. It's
He
fine.
wins. He wins. Yeah, that's it. He
Well,
got
all
what he
right,
wanted.
all right.
He wins. Boom.
Peace, peace, peace.
So instead, he holds Janet captive, and then somehow Cassie gets gets a hold of the broadcast, because he's broadcasting to everyone, and Cassie takes it over, and she basically inspires this rebellion. And
No, she rallies.
She
them,
sets everybody.
not
Yeah, she
inspired
sets
them.
everybody free, right?
yeah, she sets everybody free. At some point she confronts MODOK and says,
Oh my God, so funny.
I hate this
Go ahead.
moment so much. This was
be a
this was
dick.
another part
Oh,
of the
you
movie.
kidding?
I'm
That
like,
was cute.
no.
I like that. It's like, I mean,
I
come
love
on.
it. I love it.
He's a giant
You don't
head
have
with
to be
tiny.
a dick.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. Like, she says it like 4 or 5 times. I'm just,
It's awesome.
yeah. All right. I mean,
I love that, because I mean, I don't
thought it
know
was funny.
anything about MODOK. I know he's been in other things. I don't have any
he
connection
had
to
his
him.
own cartoon show for a while.
Yeah, I know he's very popular. I know when he popped up, everybody was going crazy. I don't have any connection.
But-
So for her to just talk to him, and just the way she talked to him, like just as someone that's annoying. It's like, Darren,
It's awesome.
it's cute.
And you know what? The only tie that the unenlightened comic person, aka me, has to MODOK is
This
through
movie.
Cassie
Yeah.
and this movie and the first movie. So it's perfect that she says all this stuff to him. That's the only connection that I put together.
So now there's this
I just
big.
feel like I just feel like the way she words everything is just like very like.
Well, remember, she is a teenager, so
She's still a kid.
Touche.
She's
so
funny.
Scott turns into a giant. He attacks the city. Did I asked if the TVA is also in this quantum realm. Yeah, I did. Okay. Anyway, Scott gets giant. He attacks the city. Cassie becomes a giant too, and they have this cute little scene with Cassie and Scott.
This is my favorite moment of the movie.
Really, they're hugging. She's like, I really want citrus.
Yeah, it's
Which is a
funny.
You know
callback.
what that's a callback to, right?
It's called back to was it Civil War, or was it Ant-Man 2? Okay, it was Civil War, yeah.
He falls over at the end of Civil War and his helmet opens up and he's like, does anyone have any orange slices?
Oh yeah.
She's like, I
love that.
I really want a lime.
I always chalked the Ant-Man line up to like, oh, you just give orange slices to like kids at the end of soccer games and stuff.
Right.
And like I thought that's what it was.
Oh yeah.
Cassie's like, oh yeah, I could really crush some limes right now.
That's awesome.
Love that. That is my favorite scene of the entire movie, by the way.
Okay, I had the timing a little the timing a little bit off. So when do the ants show up? It looked like Kang comes out and he's just like killing everybody because he's Kang.
he just like Iron Man like blasts everybody like around.
But then the ants show up with Hank. Now the ants have, when they fell through,
the line that is dropped is that they advanced 1,000 years in one day.
Technocratic society.
They are a level 2 technocratic society.
Level 2 means that they formed their own sun or something.
I am just speaking the lines of the movie.
Yeah.
That
level, I forget. Some Russian scientists came up with these levels or something like that. We're of course in level 1. But they're in level
2 technocratic society.
Yeah. They have formed their own energy source and they were using it. They're
they're all like armored and like just like shooting lasers and stuff.
Yeah.
I
thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool
very
too.
Interesting. And that's hey, it's an Ant-Man movie. Of course the ants are going to star. That's cool.
I was honestly waiting for that. I saw them like when they were like doing that like weird time dive through the like quantum realm or whatever. And I saw the ants fall, and I was like, "Ooh, they had the ants making their own technology back in the real world. This will be interesting."
Yes, this could be
Yeah.
interesting. So, very, very cool. I only hope that the rebels and the ants can get along in this post Kang world.
We don't think about the politics of the afterwar, do we?
You don't want to get on the wrong side of advanced ants.
No.
Yeah.
You want to form peace with those dudes. So Janet somehow opens a portal to.
Yeah, I don't understand what she does.
Okay.
She opens a temporary portal back to their world, and
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not going to try to science it.
Now, this is the part where I thought either Ant-Man was going to die or be stuck in the quantum realm forever.
Oh, I thought
Because
he was going to die.
Everybody,
I straight thought they were going to
so
kill Paul
everybody, quote unquote, goes home, and then what he pushes Cassie out or something, pushes Cassie through or something like that. And he stays back to fight Kang.
Well, and he says the line, "I don't have to win. We just both have to lose."
We both have to lose. That was a great line.
I straight thought Paul Rudd was gonna like blow himself up or something.
Right. Yeah, I thought this was the end of him. I thought that meant he was gonna die. But Kang kicks the crap out of him. But then,
I mean, Jonathan Majors would beat Paul Rudd in a fight. No
offense.
Jonathan Majors, he feels jacked.
It's badass.
Yeah, but then Hope comes back and helps
pew.
out. Yeah, pew pew. And it's like, okay, now Scott and Hope are going to be stuck in the quantum realm forever, and maybe Cassie will spend her time trying to get her dad back. But no, everybody lives happily ever after, sort of.
Yeah, and they kick him into something, and it like sucks him in, and like I don't even fully understand what that is.
Yeah.
And then they just like magically calculate, like, oh yeah, now we can get out. It's cool.
Right. Yeah, that's a big MacGuffin, just a big plot device. Let's all.
I liked the happy ending. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a sucker for a happy ending, but I just didn't like the convenience of it bugged my brain.
From what I understand, this was not the original ending. I don't know what the original ending was, but there were reshoots. So whatever the original ending was, I'll bet it was exactly what I said, that Ant-Man got trapped back there, and then Cassie had to spend her time becoming new what is she? Stinger
Ant
or
Girl?
something like that. She's in the comics, I think her name is Stinger or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, she becomes new Ant-Man, Ant Girl, and the new Hank Pym, and works on a way to get her dad back. I thought that's the way they were going to go, but they did not go that way. Everybody now, do the ants kill Kang or something like that?
No, he gets like sucked into like the engine or something at the end. It's weird.
It's not clear.
He has a weird death.
Yeah. I don't think it's clear.
That's why Scott is walking around at the end. It's like, I killed him, right?
Yeah.
I've heard one criticism that this is your big bad of phase 5, and it got defeated by Ant-Man. Nothing against Ant-Man, but
then we get the end credit scene.
Right. Exactly. The whole point is there's 58 million paths here, and there's 4 million different variants. Yeah, which I love.
Okay, so he is so Scott gets out. Everybody lives happily ever after. He's just walking around like, yeah, everything's wonderful. He's like, but is it? Yeah, is it really?
I killed him, right? I killed him.
I killed him, right?
I love that. I thought that was fun.
Is everything really okay?
I do honestly, like, I feel that in my heart with that anxiety of like, did I really do that?
That's such an Ant-Man thing to feel.
Yeah.
That's all of us. We're all walking around with that sense of dread. Like, is there a meteor going to fall on me? Or something?
Yes, exactly.
Now he goes back to the donut shop, and this time the guy knows him. And the first time he goes, they're like, "Oh no, your money's not good here. You get whatever you want." But now this time it's dementia. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know. I think there's a deeper meaning there.
Unless you're thinking he changed reality.
I think he changed reality. Here's another thing.
Multiverse thing.
Exactly. Yeah. They have a cake. I think they celebrate Cassie's birthday or something like that. And the Baskin Robbins guy makes the cake. He's like, I made the cake, and
he screws it up.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I just took that the Baskin Robbins guy was bad at his job.
He just
or they're in a universe where cakes don't taste good.
Or
you guys are way overthinking this.
Hey,
are we?
I think no. I think I'm underthinking it.
All right.
I agree with you, Joey. I think there's more.
I think he changed reality. I think stuff changed.
Something's different.
All right. What did you think of the post-credit scenes then?
Okay, so let's get to that. Well, the first post-credit scene is okay. So all of these Kangs are showing up to this like Coliseum.
The Council of Kangs.
The Council of Kangs, but then there's 3 Kangs that run the Council of Kangs.
Nope. They don't run it. They're just there.
So there's nobody that's running the Council of Kangs.
Nope. Because no Kang can ever decide who's gonna run it. That is the problem with the entire council. Throughout the comics.
Which is problem with the entire universe.
Which I'm guessing that for somebody who knows a lot about the comics, that maybe in whichever movie is the next one that brings this up, or if it's Loki season 2 or whatever, that's going to be a thing. Like,
that's definitely going to be a thing. It's definitely going to be infighting amongst the Kangs.
Okay,
you're going to watch a bunch of Kangs murder each other.
So there are 3 Kangs that are talking to each other. There's Ramatut, which we mentioned was the one that looked like a pharaoh.
Ramatut is the original Kang. That is Kang's first appearance in the comics before he actually appeared, even before the name Kang.
Another one is Scarlet Centurion, whoever that is. And another is Immortus.
I think there was a Chinese-based one.
Well, there's 3 of them talking, and one of them says, "It really makes you mad that you didn't kill him.
You weren't the one that killed him.
You weren't the one that killed him." What do you think that means? Now, here's one question that's been brought up. Why would you exile this bad guy? The bad Kang, the rogue Kang, why would you exile him to the quantum realm with his own time ship? You're letting him. I think what happened was you have all these Kangs, and
go ahead.
And you have all these Kangs, and there's the rogue Kang that we saw in this movie in the quantum realm, that it had to take a lot to defeat. All of them had to defeat him and exile him, and they barely did it. And that's why it's like, okay, they all work together just to get him into the quantum realm and get him like out of things. So I'm sure they wanted to kill him, but they couldn't because he's so powerful. That's just a guess.
So I feel like, more so than maybe any other Marvel movie, you see this mid-credit scene and you're like, okay, like, what does that mean? But then you see the end credit scene, and if you're fortunate enough to remember the end of Loki, this all goes together, hugely goes together, because who they're looking for, I mean, I don't want to jump the gun here, but we're talking about the if you get to the end credit scene, there's what's his name? Timely, Victor Timely,
yeah.
And there's another version of Kang. And why are Loki and Mobius looking at like all of a sudden? I feel like things start to
and
Click.
Loki and
You see all
Mobius
of
say
that.
to each other, "Ooh, there he is! There
Yeah,
he is!"
that's him.
I am so happy you caught the name.
Victor
Oh,
Timely,
Victor Timely. Yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and remember at the end of Loki season 1, things changed and Mobius did not recognize Loki, so they had to
That's what's
reform.
how did we
interesting
get
about
there?
that second end credit scene is they clearly remember each other. They're clearly
right
like
at some
working
point.
together.
Yeah.
So
And they're
that,
and they clearly are, like, they know they know that there's these different Kangs, and they listen to what Kang had to say at the end of that show, that season. It's such a, and it totally defines everything that just happened in Ant-Man. Like, it's, I don't know, those two scenes make the movie for me. Make the movie.
It definitely.
Curious question. What was Kang showing on stage?
A time machine.
That's what I thought it was.
Okay.
Why would he do that?
I've heard people
Like,
say
this was his invention, right?
Set and like other things, but yeah, okay.
I've heard.
I agree. It was a time machine.
That Victor Timely was somehow was the inspiration for Tony Stark's dad.
Interesting.
I mean, if you think about it, they're about the same time period.
No.
What's his name? What's Tony Stark's dad's
that
name?
time period looked like the 1800s.
Really? I thought it was like the 1930s.
That looked like the 1800s.
Okay. Yeah.
But
okay.
I wasn't.
Yeah. So basically, you have all these Kangs, and remember, and this is something you gave us a link to, Andrew, of explaining how it was explained in Loki, and what He Who Remains said was, yes, you had Nathaniel Richards, who is a descendant of Reed Richards, and he went back in
31st
time.
century.
Yeah, he went back in time, and then it created all of these other other branched other universes. And at first they all got along and they all shared technology and everything was wonderful. And then some of them decided to fight, and it caused all kinds of problems.
To conquer. Yeah.
Some of them decided to conquer. Now I think so I'm guessing is all those thousands of Kangs, are those the ones that decided to get along, or do we not know?
Oh no, they fight like religiously.
They fight.
They fight over the smallest of ingresses.
Yeah.
Like they fight all the time. Okay,
so but then Kang came along. This Kang that was exiled, he said, he saw what would happen, that basically all the fighting is going to blow everything up. He's like, I know the end, so I have to stop it. So I have to kill all of you to make one sacred timeline. Now, here's my question. That Kang that we saw, and we know from Loki, there was a Kang that used the smoke monster, whatever that was, to wipe out all the other things. Yeah. So is He Who Remains and this Kang, are they the same person?
No.
Aren't they all the same person in a way?
Well, no, but I mean, are they both have the same goal, right? They both have the same goal. They want to wipe out all the other ones. Just one of them figured out how to do it with the smoke monster.
No, none of them are the same. All Kangs are different Kangs, and they all have different goals, and that's why they have to have the council, is because they just argue all the time. So I don't have an answer. I don't have a solution for you, unfortunately.
The reason why I wasn't that crazy about this movie was I didn't care what happened in the quantum realm. I didn't care about those goofy creatures. I didn't care that they won their freedom or whatever. If Broccoli Man won or lost his freedom, it did not affect me one way or the other.
Thank you.
And he hit on Hope at the bar. I mean, how funny was that?
That was funny.
Awesome.
That was funny.
Sorry,
Broccoli Man and Jelly, the Jelly Dude were like my two favorite characters.
Jelly
in the entire
Dude.
movie.
Was that the one with the holes? I have holes. Yeah.
I have holes. Yeah.
Oh boy.
But
okay.
see, I get what you're saying, though. I do get what you're saying, that you didn't care about, like, we don't know enough about that group of people to really get excited about them. I totally get that. I mean, that's kind of how I felt about wait, what was the last movie? I don't know, whichever. But we keep introducing all these different areas. But no, not Thor Ragnarok. I care about them.
Love and
whatever
Thunder.
we talked about last. Yeah, Love and Thunder. Yeah. But
have we talked about Mobius yet? Because Morbius like needs to be talked about.
What about him?
That movie, how terrible that movie was.
Oh no, we're not talking about. Okay.
No, I didn't
anyway,
see that.
we we gotta go.
Yeah.
So I you know what? This is a lot less confusing than I thought it would be. So thank you. I'm glad we got to talk it out. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's not my favorite movie, but I didn't hate it. To me,
I put this in mid-tier Marvel.
8 out of 10. How many out of 10 do you guys give it?
8.5.
7.5.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. It's getting, not the greatest reviews online, but I think what it's doing is it's this whole phase, and maybe the rest of the MCU movies are losing a segment of the population of the because we're getting into some crazy concepts here.
Yeah,
people are cynical.
We do
and they
have
don't want to believe
of,
stuff.
like TV to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, this is movie 31.
Oh wow.
Or whatever. It's like, I can understand people are gonna, because I mean there are people that are just hating on this thing and just hated everything about it. So I didn't hate it that bad.
It was a fun family movie. It wasn't anything like, it's not Winter Soldier, but
you know what?
It's good.
Almost every time one of these movies come out, I see it like the night it comes out, and my wife asks, should I see it? And this one I tell her no. It's like, this would have been, I mean, it confused the hell out of me. I don't know what the hell she would have thought, but if it was, I think like the movies, she is she's not even a casual fan at all. She likes like the Spider-Man movies and stuff like that. She likes the street level stuff. I will take her to those, but this stuff is way above a lot of people's heads.
Did you guys watch Werewolf by Night?
No.
Watch Werewolf by Night. I highly recommend it. It's Marvel. It's a Marvel adjacent thing. It's really not Marvel, but it's done in such an old school, like Universal, like monster movie, like type of thing. It's done in black and white for a lot of it.
Okay.
It's really good.
We gotta go, but it's good to talk to you guys again.
Awesome. So glad we talked.
So glad to see you guys.
You too.
Bye.
We'll see you.